Hey, this is Rasmus over here, coming back with another video. And today we're off the track, but we're still going to be talking about the track in some way. Today is going to be a video about some sprint spikes. Basically, I'm just going to introduce you to some of the spikes I bought recently. These are the Under-armour Sprint Pro. These are some pretty good spikes, but I'm just generally going to talk about just what you should look for in a spike when you're buying one, because it's pretty essential, especially when you're running in the sprints, even in long distances. Each race has a different requirement for spikes, or pretty much shoes as it is. You can go on the track and run on it, but I can assure you, after running on a kind of what's a Mondo track, your feet are gonna be ripped up. Like, yeah, you can do without them, but still it's pretty much essential. Like with tracks, you gotta understand that this one thing that you kind of realize, like when you go to track meets on a regular basis, each track is very different. Some tracks are soft, some tracks are hard. Usually like the top end tracks, like the ones that you see in the Olympics or World Champs and all that, they like have a grading system, so they go from like 0 to 10, 10 being like the hardest. And usually you want a hard surface because that produces a lot of response from the ground. So when you hit the ground, you're kind of bouncing back up. Like, instead, if you have a soft surface, you hit the ground and you're kind of just absorbed into the ground, so you don't get that reactive force. So that's why you hear people talking about fast and slow tracks, and the spikes do play a little bit into it. It is preference at times in terms of like what you're after. Usually when you're looking for a sprint spike, the first thing you should be looking for is just like the whole sole. Like you see this thicker part here, it's very stable, it doesn't bend much. That doesn't bend, is like very minimal here, but it's still very strong, sturdy. This is just to keep you supported when you're running. So as I always say, just hit the ground. You're trying to like you don't want to collapse. So when you collapse, you're losing energy. Everything's absorbed into the ground, and you basically lose a lot of speed from that. So looking at this bike, this is kind of a it can be used like as a sprint spike, or you can go up to like even a 400 meter sprint. If you're like a sprint based kind of 400 meter runner, you see that like in, like I'd say Karani James, he's one of the guys that's more of a, if he was to do another event, as Michael Johnson would say, he would be doing the 800 because he's more of an endurance guy. Like if you look at LaShawn Merritt, they're both 400 meter runners, but LaShawn Merritt, he does the 200 meters instead, and he's more kind of sprint based. So something like this would be pretty good for him because it's very stiff and solid, so you don't get that much movement. So that's what you look for really in a spike. Just first off is just the support, just the strength, and there is a little bit about like the spikes themselves. You can't change the height, but you have to be careful because like usually it's like 9 millimeters is for track, 11 millimeters is for like field events, and they can't pull you up on it at times if you have spikes that's too long, because they do give you a traction. I'm not 100% about this one. There are some few videos that explain why. It's usually to do with like just the amount of grip that you get on the ground, and somehow it benefits you when you're running. Like they are, like you see the new Nike ones where it's just all this spikes, the new Nike running spikes. It's pretty much all these just little ones, and you just see a few of the main ones, main studs. But yeah, just all spikes all the way at the bottom. But yeah, with this shoe, it's a pretty good shoe, with pretty good sprint spike. It's very like visually appealing. It's got really good aesthetics to it. It's very comfortable on your feet. I've run it a few times. I'm running a lot. That's why it's all kind of scratched out. It even has like a label that says It might be scratched when you're running after a while, the chrome. But yeah, it's very light. It's one thing you want to look for as well. Just the weight of it. Like, these things are way lighter than your average normal shoe, like half the weight. Some spikes go even heaps lighter than that, especially like the Adidas ones. They're very light. You throw it and it kind of like just floats in the air. It's like paperweight. But so yeah, these are some pretty good shoes. Very comfortable. There's not much else I can say about them. There is a white and black version. White, you know, as with white, anything white, it does get dirty a little bit faster. So you just have to kind of take care of it a little bit more. Kind of clean it with a sponge or something like that. That's what I pretty much do all the time. But yeah, it's a pretty good shoe. You can see like inside of it. I'll try to show you guys. It doesn't really like reddish. You can see it's very minimalistic. It's kind of like synthetic, kind of. It's like I don't know if it's leather or something like that, but it's just the outside is, yeah, it's very smooth. It's got some rubber at the back here as well on the heel. Yeah, but yeah, with spikes you're mostly running like at this angle. So say this is the surface, like you just want your feet like there, so most of the time you're not touching the heel. Your heel's not going to be hitting the ground. You slow down a lot of like running clips. If your heel's hitting the ground, there's something wrong. But you just want to like have this kind of angle, basically. You want it too high, don't want it too low. But yeah, some people will rotate like true spikes. Man, that's another thing you have to watch out for. Just the movement in them, because that kind of affects your speed as well. So some people are like more pronators and supinators. Some people like go inside when they land. So here they'll land like here. They'll like push in a little bit, let them go out. But usually it's like it's weird. You kind of like land here, but eventually you kind of push out like that way or something like that. And others are kind of like just land on the side, but still. There's a lot of physiology I'm not 100% sure about, but with that, it's always about like the middle part as well, because some spikes you notice that they force you up on your toes more than others. This one doesn't force you up on your toes as much. Like I know usually with the Nikes they do force you up a little bit higher. Most of the Adidas's they're they're kind of like this in that they don't force you as much, but they're a little bit looser. Asics, I really like Asics. They're pretty good. They're very comfortable shoes. Yeah, they're very comfortable shoes for Asics, especially the sprint spikes. But I'd say they're not always as solid as most of the others when I've raced with them or when I've run in them. But yeah, this is pretty much a pretty solid shoe. The speed foams. That's about it for this video. If you guys have any questions, hit me down in the comments section below, and like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Catch you guys next time. Bye.